see people are coming in, so which is good.
Okie doke. So hello everyone who's joining us and anyone's watching this on demand as well. So this is our webinar on 7 ways to use paid membership to grow, no, paid media to grow your membership, sorry. So yeah, you're joined today by me and Chris from Copper Bay Digital. So we're a member growth agency supporting organisations with member and customer growth since 2008. And our main mission is to help 10 million members realise a benefit of their membership by 2034. So that's kind of a little bit about us. So I'm your host today, main speaker. So I'm Madeline, I work in digital marketing, and your speaker today is our digital lead, Chris. So he's going to be talking through the 7 ways you can utilise paid media to improve your membership growth and strategy. So in terms of asking questions, obviously, here's a webinar, so we'll be speaking at you a little bit from the start, but it's interactive. So you'll see on the top right of your screen, there's a little speak bubble question mark in it, and you click on that, drop in any questions you have throughout the webinar, and we'll answer them at the end. Anything pops up as you go along, anything pops into your head, drop us a little question in that section. You can also upvote any questions. Like if you see someone steals a question, you can give it a little thumbs up and it'll bump it up to the top. And then, yeah, me and Chris will go through them at the end for you. So just to get things started, we're going to do a little quick poll just to get everyone awake on this little, it's mid-afternoon for us over here, but might not be where you are today. But you'll see in the little poll section now, it's just popped up. How do you use paid media? So speaking Google, Meta, LinkedIn ads. So the options you can choose from, we've got acquisition only, acquisition, engagement and retention only, or do you not run paid media? No right or wrong answer, just getting a little feeler for who's involved today, people's experience. This webinar will be tailored to all levels of experience, whether you run ads, whether you don't. It's useful to everybody. I can see coming in, so we've currently got majority have got acquisition only.
Yep.
Some people don't run paid media. Acquisition only seems to be quite strongly in the lead.
Oh, bit of attention, a bit of engagement there as well.
Jumped in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So it looks like majority of people so far kind of go for acquisition only, the paid media. And then, yeah, a couple of you just don't run paid media at all currently. I'm presuming interested in the future and its value. And then a couple of the people as well, acquisition, engagement, retention. No one currently seems to do just engagement, retention only. So yeah, interesting.
Hopefully by the end of this webinar, people will change their minds and use it for a bit more attention as well. So hopefully that's the goal.
We'll get scores across the doors for everyone later on, hopefully.
Cool. Brilliant.
Right.
Thank you, Madeline. So yeah, obviously, thank you everybody for joining. And I will be talking today, as Madeline's already said, about the 7 ways to use paid media. I think it's kind of classic that acquisition, as you've already seen, acquisition is a really great way of using paid media. But I'm going to kind of talk to different ways of using that, using the channels and the reasons why as well. So just to kind of set the scene a little bit, so we have our membership growth framework, and we see kind of paid media as a channel or as a mechanism to reach members, current members and prospective members in many different ways across the whole kind of spectrum of acquisition, engagement and retention. So I was touching on this kind of on the framework throughout the kind of presentation as well. So so to start things off, really, the way we see paid media is it's more than just acquisition. It is paid media. It's just ultimately paid media is just another form of marketing compared to obviously marketing is as a wide breadth of different ways to market to your potential customers, and it can be used to promote and inform as well as acquire, as we kind of talked about a few seconds ago. And the best, just to kind of set the scene as well, the best organizations we see don't only focus on things like return on ad spend, even though return on ad spend is super important for when you're running paid media. You want to make sure that you're putting the money you're putting in is driving a return. but they also look at that as a wider picture with regards to reach, with regards to activation of a campaign. How ultimately am I getting my message in front of the right people? So there's cost associated to almost all marketing there is, and paid media is no exception to that. And so, but it's also not, outside of the cost of other marketing activities as well. So I think just to consider that paid media is just another cost ultimately across your marketing, and shouldn't be considered separate to other marketing activities as a whole. But if anything, the power in it is it gives you that return on ad spend. It gives you that, you can directly measure more easily what that costs are. So just to kind of set the scene there on around paid media and where it fits into your marketing strategy. So first off, point number one, kind of strategy number one, is membership acquisition. Obviously, we talked about that. Now, this is one where you are going to want to focus on return on ad spend. So you put whatever money you put into your membership acquisition channel through paid media, you want to make sure that it's driving more members than it's costing you. You do. Membership growth obviously is becoming hard. We've talked about this on previous presentations and previous webinars about how just generally acquiring members is difficult. It is, but paid media really is a powerful way of just getting your message and your value in front of these organizations or the potential members they are. So some practical kind of tips on what you should do is first off, build those dedicated membership landing pages. When you're talking paid media, they've clicked an advert, they've clicked something that's a very specific message. So you want to make sure the next step is really dedicated to that original kind of message that they've clicked on in the first place. So lots of people send paid traffic to a more generic join page, or maybe just the homepage of a website, which can work in certain circumstances, but where you can, using dedicated landing pages to solve the problem that they've clicked through on, is really a powerful way to keep them moving people through that journey. So using landing pages is key for acquisition. Define that member, the ideal member audience segment. So as part of our growth framework, the ideal member profile. So you identify and segment your potential members that are going to join, and then align the value messaging along those. So being able to kind of build those segments around your acquisition strategy in paid media. So obviously launching Google search campaigns. Google search is a powerful campaign. We're going to talk about kind of different channels later. Retargeting, I've mentioned these on previous webinars, but using paid media to retarget people that visit certain pages or take certain actions is a powerful way to make member acquisition a positive thing through paid media. Testing multiple membership value propositions. So we talked about segmenting earlier. You could then test different value propositions based on the segments or just conversion rates. So using that testing to optimize the campaigns. Using lead forms to capture soft conversions. So even though they've clicked for a paid ad, yes, you're going to want them to take immediate action, but sometimes they're not ready to do that. And this is kind of a part of a longer nurturing campaign. So using lead forms for soft conversions is a great way to just capture some details to continue that conversation with them, and optimizing those landing page conversion rates. So ultimately, because we've talked about setting up landing pages earlier, being able to then optimize each individual landing page based on the adverts that they're coming through to, based on the problems that they're looking to get solved, is a really powerful way to make sure that membership acquisition works through paid media. The most effective channels. So take this with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because obviously every membership has their own different challenges. But we would typically start off without necessarily, before we dug too deep into the challenges of the individual organization, to say a Google search is a great way to capture that intent. So it is really quick at generating those returns. And LinkedIn ads, if you're targeting a more professional market, then having LinkedIn is another great channel to start off. So if we're from a very high level, the most effective channels from acquisition. As I've mentioned, we talked about acquisition a lot, so on previous webinars, but I just wanted to kind of cover that's obviously the first and one of the primary ways that people are already using it, as I've seen on the poll today, but is a way that I would always start off people using the channel if they're not using it already. The second is around renewal and retention. So ultimately, people can rely too heavily on emails to renewals for renewals, or even post letter campaigns and things like that. Obviously, paid media allows you to give you that direct access to your current members and help kind of promote your message for those renewal times. So practical actions here is one of the key things I'm not sure people might not necessarily know you can do is you can actually upload your member data into these paid channels to help create these audiences. So you're actually targeting these specific people. A really powerful way of getting the message in front of your current members rather than just sending it out to everybody and hoping that they're a member. So you can actually segment down to your individual list of members. Obviously, targeting dates, obviously, you can build these around specific dates. I know a lot of organizations have annual renewals for everybody and for those ones. So you can target the particular month or leading up to that to run the campaigns. Promote those unused member benefits. So this is opportunity here to not just promote to say renew. It's reminding people what benefits they have as part of their membership. So it's that drip feeding the value into them just as much as you're drip feeding that value into prospective members as well. Obviously, success stories are a really powerful way of convincing people to take action because they get to see that people like them have got value from the membership. Retargeting those expired members. So this is also an opportunity to retarget people that maybe have already expired with specific offers or value adds to say rejoin now. You can obviously you could do that for time. Anyone that's cancelled in the last few months, you could push those adverts to. You could do then running the reminder campaigns before expiry. So this isn't just a case of if renewals next week, start running a campaign. You want to make sure you're drip feeding in the months or weeks into before that renewal date you do, so you can drip feed that information in. And then promote those upcoming member opportunities. So you maybe have, if the renewal date's in June, but you've got an event in August. So obviously you make it show that that event's coming up, and so they feel like they're missing out if they don't renew today. And some effective channels here is the channels we've selected are ones that kind of have the greatest reach. So Meta can be a great way to have kind of really high cost-effective reach and frequency it can do. And also then obviously using your email data to build those retargeting audiences is a powerful way that's kind of what we would suggest as a basic to run that kind of renewal and retention campaigns. The third one is around events and webinars. So events can be a revenue generating stream for lots of organizations, or at least as a opportunity for engagement for people to help renew. So we've kind of put that in the acquisition and engagement. It also can be a way of driving people to sign up in the first, so they might get their first event free if you're event focused. So events can be a great way to kind of promote the organization. So practical actions here to promote these events and webinars. Obviously, landing pages again. So create the specific landing pages. Don't just send them to your event page with a list of 20 events on there. Create a landing page dedicated to that particular event. Make it really simple for them to sign up. And we always push, just to kind of reiterate about landing pages. Obviously, with paid media, landing pages are really key because you can direct the advert to a specific page. You can do. It's not just a case of sending them to your homepage. So this is one of the, you can really kind of take control of the journey that they go through. So this is where that's why we promote landing pages quite a bit throughout different elements of paid media. Promote the speakers and key discussions, obviously, promote the reason for going, the value, retargeting those registration page visitors, so retargeting again, so making sure that if someone comes to a landing page but they don't take action, you can retarget them with slightly different messaging. Using countdown reminder campaigns. So you've got an event coming up, obviously you can start talking about kind of how many days or weeks there is to go. Target those previous attendees. So again, you've got that data and you can feed that into your marketing channel to create the previous attendees list to target them. Promote early bird registrations as is kind of classic for events, and then run those post-registration attendance reminders. So people obviously might register but then forget to turn up. Obviously I know that's frustrating from an event organizer's point of view. So just because someone signed up, make sure you're also promoting to make sure they attend as well. Obviously, this is run alongside email campaigns. So this isn't a replacement of, but this is just another way of reaching that person. And some effective channels here, LinkedIn, again, if it's more professional, and Meta. So we're talking about volume of reaching as many people as possible here. So these are kind of cheap channels to kind of just to capture those people because we have that data of who they are and what they're interested in. So that's why I would recommend those channels. So the fourth point is education, training, and CPD. So for those people that are actively looking to solve a particular problem or gain qualification or progress their career, you can align how your membership supports them in their education. So some practical tips here is around targeting those career focused terms, obviously. So people are searching for the challenges in their own careers. Promote those individual courses separately. So don't just show it off a training, promote individual courses. You may have seen these already, regards to some more generic kind of, I'm thinking like Udemy and things like that. They don't just promote Udemy, they promote the individual courses they do. So you want to make sure you're promoting the individual courses because they're valuable in their own right. Highlight the CPD accreditation. Obviously, people looking for, if you're more accreditation based, then making sure that you're kind of capturing that traffic. Again, testimonial led, is making sure to show that a person that they've been through your kind of training already, and this is the result they got. So leading on ads in that style is going to increase click-through rates. Retargeting, again, I've mentioned that again, for people that kind of take a first step but don't take an action, you can retarget because you know they're interested. Promoting those upcoming enrollment deadlines. So if you're running in a cohort scenario, maybe you have deadlines that they need to register by, so you can create assets and campaigns based around those. And then segmenting audiences by profession or the need, what problem your courses solve. So again, segmenting your campaigns around kind of the individuals as well, to allow you to kind of cut through, again, rather than being generic. I think one of the dangers around running paid media sometimes is being too generic in your messaging and not actually solving the problems, especially because you do have this data of the members. You know who they are and what their problems are. And some effective channels here: search, good for intent. It is for people searching to solve their problem. And then LinkedIn, if it's professions based, you can obviously promote to those particular job types and job roles. You can do on seniority as well. So there's some good channels to reach when you're promoting the education, training, and CPD. Fifth one now is around member engagement, just more generally. So obviously, one of the challenges for most membership organizations, there's lots of different challenges, but one thing we always hear is that we have so much value to offer, but people aren't engaging with them. So this is as well as other, and they've tried other campaigns, they've tried other emailing out and sending out posters and things like that. But actually paid media isn't just another way of targeting these people, your members, to actually engage in the platforms that you have. So promote those underused member resources. So identify what is underused and making sure you're promoting those, especially if you feel you have value in those. Drive traffic to those member portals. You can drive traffic to areas that kind of where people can get the value from. Advertise that exclusive content, the releases as well, just generally what exclusive content you have, being able to promote that as individual items. You'll notice here that some of these elements are around just, again, not being too general to say we have a training portal. It's we have a training portal that has this unique content. You should click here. It's being very precise in the messaging you are to solve that particular problem. Segment their campaigns by member interest. So again, kind of that aligns to what's above there. If you know certain job roles are interested in a certain type of training, then again you can segment those people into groups, and then you can show that training opportunity to them. You can do so, being very, again, precise and making sure you're showing the right message to the right person here. Again, not being too generic. Promote app downloads. Obviously, not everyone's going to have an app, but whether that's an app, whether that's a resource, just promoting those individual resources, something that ties them. I guess the key here is that if they take that one action of downloading an app, for example, it's going to snowball into other actions because they've got their app. And then once they're in their app, the app's going to help them get more value from your membership. So promoting, a little bit like promoting the portal. Re-engaging those inactive members. So finding out those from your data, which members haven't logged in the last weeks or months, and just making sure you re-engage with those through campaigns. Highlighting new member tools. Again, obviously your memberships are ever changing, hopefully at least. So just highlighting what's new in the membership. And some great channels here are Meta, again, because it gives you the great reach it does for a relatively low cost. I've mentioned here around push or apps or email campaigns. So more direct marketing here, again, aligned with the data of your members to say who isn't taking action, who should I push a very specific message to. So point number 6 is around brand awareness and thought leadership. So ultimately, across every organization, you want to make sure you're seen as a respectable and credible resource for the problems that your members have. And so paid media really helps you promote your brand and helps you kind of just reach people and just leave a positive feeling. It does. So using paid media to promote your brand and thought leadership is just, again, another great way of reaching and just changing people's minds, influencing them. It is. So some practical examples here are promoting the industry reports and insights, if you're creating those, or the things that you've done across the industry. Share the commentary. Videos are a great powerful way in paid media, just generally in all marketing nowadays, but videos are a great way of getting a message across. So I would definitely recommend creating those resources. Amplifying research and campaigns that you've completed, especially campaigns if you're the type of organization membership that's kind of lobbying the government and kind of trying to make real change across the industry. Showcase that and show them what you're doing. Build retargeting audiences. Again, for people that have kind of engaged with you in the past. Use consistent brand messaging here, obviously, is really important. Promote podcasts and video contents. A lot of these things we're talking about today, especially in this area, the brand awareness, people might do this in the past via brochures or things like that, kind of news campaigns or something like that, where you're sharing that. They may go to news articles on your website. But again, the problem about that is sometimes you assume that just because you put it on your website, people are going to read it. Again, if you think it's really valuable, you feel like it's going to make a difference to your perception of you as an organization, why not put a little bit of money behind that to promote it? That's kind of the concept here, really. We're talking about some of these content pieces that you create, and then increase visibility around industry topics. Most effective channel here is LinkedIn, again, if you're more professionally focused. I've talked about here about YouTube ads. Again, we talked about video. So YouTube can be a great way of just getting your message out there from a brand perspective, where people just see it. You're not expecting them to take immediate action. They see it and just build, and it just builds your reputation with that individual. Again, drip feeds that reputation with them. And the final one is member value and benefits promotion. So this is something that you should be running all the time. It is. So just to show the value that you offer. One interesting thing about this element as well is that when we ask people to kind of showcase their member value and benefits, there's usually a big then long conversation of what is the value we offer? How do we phrase that value to make it really easy to understand? So actually going through this exercise is really important and really valuable to actually condense that into a really simple message for people to understand and to kind of absorb very quickly, just in a couple of seconds. So it's an interesting exercise to go through this generally anyway, but you should be running this to show those value and benefits. So some practical actions here. The success stories, as always, discounts and benefits. Obviously, if you have got any sort of discounts or value add, I think I generally prefer value add rather than discounting, but something showcasing that for your advertising. Exclusive opportunities that you have, that might be events, that might be, as we talked before, about access, being able to influence kind of government and things like that. Testimonial-based campaigns, promote those member-only tools. Again, make sure show that what people are missing out on by not joining you. Remind members of available resources that you have. Reinforce those year-round membership value. Again, most effective, because this is more brand focused, you want as much reach as possible. You still want to be targeted to the right people. You do, and it's not just a case of show it to everybody. But meta ads is a great way of just reaching lots of people. It is to showcase that brand, and then email audience campaigns, again, targeting as well. So there are those kind of 7 ways. One thing I wanted to mention, I've mentioned it a few times throughout this, about using your data to help create those segments and to target your ads to the right people. So a tool like Member Metrics, you may have this in your current CRM as well, is to say you can export the list of, show me all the members that haven't used these free memberships, and then we can export that as a list, feed that back into your paid media channel, and then you can create segments in advertising purely around the people that haven't used that particular benefit of your membership. So being able to export that data into list to be able to feed back in is how a lot of this works. It is this done without the data. You can still do something, but it gets more powerful when you do have that data. So a tool like Member Metrics allows you to export that data and feed back into your to your paid campaigns. So just to recap very quickly, 7 ways to use paid media. There's the acquisition is core. It is renewal and retention is a powerful way to just keep those renewals going. We've got events and webinars, education training, member engagement, brand awareness, thought leadership, member value and benefits promotion. And then if you use a tool like Member Metrics, it allows you to enhance the data in there. Just something to mention here as well. I've not got a slide based around this, but how you split the budget on that is going to be different for every organization. It is. So I'm not expecting there's no simple calculation, but generally speaking, the higher up in that list, you're probably going to spend more of your budget on those points you are, and then the lower down, you're probably just going to keep those always running. I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar around return on ad spend. So to kind of, even though you shouldn't be counting every penny in that sense when you're getting further and further down that list, because it's more about kind of influence that you're having. It's more about reach. It is. You'll always get questions from your board, from your CEO to say, okay, we're spending this amount of money on ads. What's it returning? You still want to make sure that generally speaking, there's a return on that ad spend and a good return on that ad spend. But as you start kind of promoting your message, showing your message out there, that return on ad spend may lessen a little bit, but that doesn't mean it's not as effective. It's just not as easy to track directly because it's more about influence rather than conversions. It is, but which is still a powerful thing in any marketing strategy. It is. So I just want, like I say, I've not got a slide about that, but I wanted to mention that as well. So that's the end of kind of my part of the presentation. Thank you very much. Any kind of questions that might have come through?
That was great. Thanks, Chris. That was a great talk through 7 ways for paid media membership marketing. So like Chris said, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Little speech bubble at the top of the question mark, pop them in. Questions about using strategy or how this works for you, or anything's popped up along that got a question about, something that's on your mind, pop it in there, have a little discussion. Give it a few minutes to let those kind of come in, but
Maybe it's just a hot Thursday afternoon, so people are questioned out at this time of day.
Yeah, very true. But no, I think that was great. I think it's paid media can be quite intimidating, I think, for a lot of people. So I think breaking it down into, finding your attention, then it'll go backwards. Not one platform fits all, is it? So you've got
I find
LinkedIn for professional and that sort of thing. So
we find when we talk to people, we went to a Memcom event the other last month, and I think the conversation naturally turns towards acquisition and new members, and that's something a really powerful way to do it. But sometimes then the conversation then quickly turns to the internal problems where they're just not reaching enough of their current members, and so hence why we kind of I wanted to build this webinar around kind of actually it's a powerful tool to reach current members and not just acquiring new ones.
Yeah, exactly. Don't neglect those you already got, is it? It's always easier to have retention than gaining new ones. You want to make sure you kind of get that long-term investment from your users.
All marketing costs money in some ways, whether it's or costs something in some, whether that's time, whether that's money, and so you should consider paid media should be considered as, yes, it's a cost, but it's a cost that can bring return just like any other marketing activity. So if you weigh that up, it can be, as you say, it can really help engage your current member set. It can do.
Yeah, there's a lot of value to be had there, I think, especially for the membership space as well, like you said.
Brilliant.
Can't see any questions, so I'd say that means you've done a very comprehensive webinar.
Exactly, it means I've answered everything. That's always good to know. That's good. Brilliant. Okay, yeah, and obviously we'll be sharing these slides at the end of the at the end of the presentation. You'll get a follow-up with these slides and a copy of the video. And there's a couple of links here about benchmarking your recruitment score. And then we also have a way of kind of if you want to book a meeting to talk about any of this, talk about the membership growth framework, especially to talk about how we can get the most out of that. And then I've mentioned the Member Metrics tool. Really, feel free to kind of visit that. And if you're interested in talking about that, let us know. And next webinar will be in end of June 2026. So thank you very much.
Stay tuned for the next ones. Yeah,
exactly. Ready to go.
Thank you everyone for your time and have a nice rest of your day.
Brilliant. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.